Judaism is a religion, a spirituality to serve God, thousands of years old. Zionism is only around 100 years old. It is the transformation from religion to nationalism, to materialism, created by non-religious Jews who hated the religion, and they really didn't want Judaism. They didn't even want to make their state in Palestine, only in Uganda at the first meetings. The reason they used the name Israel, the Star of David, hijacking, stealing the identity of Judaism and the Jewish people, is in order to get a legitimacy for their existence, that people should say, oh, it's God given to them, and that they should put fear and intimidate people from speaking up against their actions because they'll call them anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
There couldn't be anything further from the truth. As I say, the best friends of the Jewish people is Turkey. The best friends of the Jewish people is all the Muslim countries who've helped the Jews all the time when they ran away from their problems in other lands. So how could you say this? It's something totally different. It's a political, selfish, flawed movement called Zionism that has no legitimacy to exist. It's against the Torah. Maybe just say one thing. It's against the Torah in its essence. The concept for Jews to have a state is expressly forbidden in the Torah, in the Jewish teaching, since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago. We were told by the Almighty in a prophecy of King Solomon, and that we are forbidden to have our own entity, our own state, our own kingdom, even in an uninhabited land. And this was held by all Jews around the world for thousands of years. And it makes it worse, compounds the sin, the crime in having the state, because this state of Israel that these nationalists made it in Palestine, made it in a land that was inhabited by the majority Muslim people, by the Palestinian people. So to steal their land, to kill, to oppress, to banish them from the homes, it flies in the face and contradicts everything of the Torah that says thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, that one has to emulate God, be compassionate. So they've used our identity to rebel against God and to desecrate God's name, and to create a rift between Jews and Muslims, and to make a river, an endless river of blood for the Muslims, for the Palestinian people, and anti-Semitism for the Jews, and death for the Jews also. This is unfathomable and unacceptable in no manner.
Is it true that you are against the whole concept of Israel as a state?
That is not only, when you say I am, this means the Jews who are true to the Torah, across the board, in every part of the world, all the rabbinical authorities opposed Zionism from day one. As soon as they came up with the concept, the chief rabbis, we have documents, historic documents, the chief rabbi of
Historical
Palestine,
documents, yeah.
historical documents, the chief rabbi of Palestine was approached by the United Nations in 1947, and he wrote, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine." And this was in 1947, July. And then 3 months later, they saw that they're being ignored by the United Nations. Yeah. And so he sent another letter to the Secretary General in Lake Success, and he said, "We plead with you, at least leave us to the Secretary General. The Jewish Orthodox community, comprising 60,000 souls in Jerusalem, objects to the plea of including Jerusalem in the Jewish state that they want to create. Our community demands that Jerusalem be an international zone under your protection, and its residents be free citizens of the international zone." So they said, at least leave us this path. And they were ignored till today. Jews demonstrate, and I think it's important to see, Jews demonstrate, and they're getting constantly, till today, they made demonstrations, and they're getting beaten by the Zionist police. People can see this is an ongoing, people being beaten by the demonstrations. We have many on NKUSA, you can see the ongoing beating by the Zionist police because they demonstrate against the state, and because they demonstrate against the states willfully ignoring the laws of the Torah. They dig up graves. They want a highway, they dig up graves. It doesn't bother. It's against God, against the holiness of the soul. Muslim countries, they don't do that. Muslim countries respect the Jewish graves. They dig up graves now of thousands of years old, and because they don't believe in the soul, they don't believe in God.
Yeah.
And what they're doing to the people in Gaza and Palestine, it's because they've taken God out of the equation. They are ready to sacrifice on the altar of Zionism to attain their goal of a land, anything that stands in the way. So the Jewish people's souls are snatched. They con people into supporting them, and they're doing what they're doing, the Nakba, to the people of Gaza and Palestine. We sent a delegation of rabbis to Palestine, to Gaza, just this summer. We went there. We brought them aid, and we embraced them and said, our hearts are with you. We feel your suffering. This is against God, against the Torah, and against the will of the Jewish people who are true to God. We pray for speedy and peaceful dismantlement of this impediment to peace, the state of Israel that has no legitimacy, that has caused the rift between religions, between our peoples.
Who owns the media? This is a question that has now come to the fore with the recent statement by Oliver Stone, who said that Jews dominate the media. Stone pointed out that because of this domination, public discourse on crucial issues that face our nation is being suppressed. But after intense pressure from the Jewish community, who act as America's thought police, Oliver Stone apologized and retracted his statement. But was Oliver Stone right, or was he wrong? I was raised as a Jew in an upper middle-class synagogue, and we all knew who owned the media. In fact, we as Jews were proud of it. But now that I am a Christian, and now that I understand the power of the media to wield in its hands the weapons of Jewish propaganda, I can no longer be silent. I'm going to tell you who owns the media. I'm going to name names. I'm going to give you facts. 2 plus 2 still equals 4. And until proven otherwise, I will never apologize. Let's start with CBS. Murray Rothstein owns CBS. He changed his name to Sumner Redstone. He did this so that people would think that he's a Gentile. He's not. Sumner Redstone is Jewish. Who owns NBC? Brian Roberts. Brian Roberts comes from a Jewish family that owns the Comcast Corporation. Brian Roberts appointed as the president of NBC a man by the name of Jeff Zucker. His name is not Jeff McGuire. Who owns ABC? Sidney Bass, who appointed as his president the Jewish man named Robert Iger. Now, who owns CNN? CNN is then owned by Edgar Bronfman. He's heir to the Seagram 7 whiskey fortune. Edgar also owns Time magazine. He also owns Warner Brothers. He's also Jewish. Who owns Newsweek? The Meyer Graham family, Jewish family. Who owns the New York Times? The Salzberger family. And who owns the U.S. News and World Report? His name is Morton Zuckerman. His name is not Morton McGuire. With names like these, Oliver Stone hit the nail right on the head when he stated that Jews dominate the media and when he said that public discourse on crucial issues that face our nation is being suppressed. Issues like open immigration, issues like hate speech laws, issues like giving billions of dollars to Israel every year rather than to keep it here in the United States for our own domestic needs, issues that the Jewish community supports, is being voiced by the Jewish-dominated media.
Right. First of all, we as a human race have got to get our freaking heads around what this is, because it ain't what we're told it is. It's not about what's right and beneficial for Jewish people. Jewish people are its victims, not its beneficiaries. Jewish people have been hung out to dry again and again by this crowd that claim to have their best interests at heart, like hell they do. That's why I call this Rothschild Zionism. It was created by them, it is controlled by them to this minute, and it was created as a secret society within the web to massively contribute to the manipulation and control of our global society and individual countries, etc., etc. It's Rothschild Zionism. Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, not that anti-Semitism means what we think it does, because Zionism is not about Jewish people. Even in its play-out way or world, it is a political system, a political philosophy. At its core, it is a secret society putting its agents in places of power. One of the very few things that Joe Biden, Vice President of the United States, has ever said, which is true, is you don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist. Because of the propaganda, we equate Zionism with Jewish people. It's not how it is. To a very, very large extent. How many people know this? How many Jewish people around the world are protesting, have organizations created to protest against Zionism? Zionism and Judaism are diametrically opposed. Zionism is state-organized terror. How many times do we see this in the newspapers? Never. End of Zionism equals peace. Israel, stop killing Palestinians. I am Jewish and I want that. Why don't we hear about this? We condemn any Zionist aggression against Iran. I thought every Jewish person in the world wanted to bomb Iran. That's what the media seem to give us an indication about. Another Jew against Zionism. Over and over. Zionist spokesmen do not represent world Jewry. How many people, I thought Ahmadinejad of Iran is supposed to be the great demon of all Jewish people. Ah, look at it. The demonization comes from Rothschild Zionism. We've been totally misled about what it is. Rothschild dynasty created Israel. It paid for the first people out of Europe to go and people Israel after the war. It paid for the building of the Knesset. It paid for the building of the Supreme Court building with all its Illuminati symbols all over it. And some of the people who've broken out of the family, I quote one of them in my book, have actually said, and as I've been saying for years because it's bloody obvious, that Israel is not the homeland of Jewish people, it is the fiefdom of the Rothschild dynasty, created out of Rothschild Zionism, a secret society. And Rothschild Zionism has been used via Israel to devastate, slaughter, torture an entire nation of human beings, while claiming to be against terrorism. This is the dictionary definition of genocide: the systematic and widespread extermination or attempted extermination of an entire national, racial, religious or ethnic group. Never can what is happening in Palestine and Gaza have been described so accurately. More and more people killed through war, killed through bombing attacks, killed through shootings, killed through lack of food and adequate medical care.